All good now?
Yeah, it should be all good. Okay. We have to start over.
Okay.
Oh my god. I didn't realize it was not recording any of the voices at all. Rip. Oops, guys, my bad. I apologize. Um, yeah, now it should be able to see. I think my OBS now catches me. So, I apologize. We were talking the whole time. No one could hear us. But basically, we're gonna go over the usual. We have not updated this since January, so we are going to be going through styles that are after the Akari 3 banner. And we have a bunch of banners and new units to put into the tier list. This is for LB1 only. So this is for people who are basically they own a lot of the roster, but they don't have LB3s. Here is what we deem as very important to have, or just like very like strong units in general, um, as well as like mediocre to like very hard to use. Overall, I think anyone above this strong level is actually quite viable in their own way, and anyone underneath that, it's harder to find a reason to actually use them, but they're not bad. And honestly, in JP, you can kind of go around with kind of mediocre units and still hit the 1.4 million score attack and also clear basically every boss. So it's not like you need anything like you need the top tier, but it makes things a lot easier overall. But we're gonna start off with Diva, and as we noted before, but no one could hear us, unfortunately, is her spot has not changed. Um, and as Red remarked, it's just because her hit count buff for Funnel is 3-time hit for 80%. It's the most powerful version that you can give to an ally, and no one else can do it. So until someone can actually replace that, there's really no one threatening her spot. Just like how Yun was not threatened for such a long time, Diva is not threatened either. We then move to Aoi, the admiral, the first admiral. There is now two, but we'll add the second one later. That we still keep her on this spot. She does not actually allow you to hit top damage anymore. However, the ability to lower SP cost by one, as well as just being a very powerful unit in defensive abilities and everything, can just make your life so much easier overall in terms of just content for everything. So the fact that she is just easy for defensive and also very strong for just allowing you to just clear things in general is what makes it important. So that's why she is still tier 10, bottom of tier 10 at LB at LB1, and we're keeping her. For main damage, we have added a new unit to bottom of tier 10, and that is Unison Bungo. And we were just going over that before. I was told that we cannot be hurt. So I'll just go over her kit real quick, just so then people understand why she is so potent. So first of all, just noting, she does come with Pierce Crit. One of the things that we'll note about Pierce Crit is even though she's at the top of the tier, she does not deal the most damage at all. Not even close. However, she is so versatile and so useful that she can just overpower pretty much any boss and any enemy in the game. So she's just that powerful. The reason behind it, we're just going over right now. So as you can see, her common skill, I know it's at the top. I don't know why it got mixed up. Maybe you should tell Rum. But at the top, we have her common skill, and she actually gives a buff to the backline that they'll have forever until the fight ends. And it actually increases weakness damage by 30% by giving them Owaki minion buff. Now, this weakness damage increase is additive to Mind Eye. So if you already have Mind Eye, this is only an extra 30%. It cannot stack multiple times. So your Mind Eye buff basically goes from like 100% increased damage to 130% increased damage, which is quite nice. She also has this for herself. I think it's yeah. So at battle start, she will give herself the buff. So she will have it herself. Now, just noting that that is just the first part of her kit that makes her incredibly powerful. The second part of the kit that makes her incredibly powerful is the fact that you don't even need LB1 to feel her power. At LB0, she already comes with a thing that says every turn, if whoever has Waki minion buff will get +1 SP, and this is incredibly powerful because that means whoever she gives the buff to from here, the on the first turn you could pop this. It's 6 SP, and the backline will gain an extra +1 SP even if they're in the backline because of her LB0 passive. She also gets to have this +1 SP for herself, so she will start in the backline and still will gain +1 SP. Very powerful stuff. But that's not all, right? If you go to her EX skill, depending on how many stacks of Waki minion buffs are, I mean, how many allies, not stacks, how many allies have Waki minion buff, it will increase the potency and the how powerful her EX is. So if she is alone having the Waki minion buff, she just has regular Pierce crit. And the craziest part of her kit is this skill doesn't even have a usage count. I think it's usually written here, if I'm not mistaken. Am I crazy? Yeah. So as you can see, there's supposed to have skill usage. This has 0 skill usage. You can spam this all you want until the boss dies. So you have a Pierce crit that has a decent potency of 12.5k at level 1, which isn't that great, but the fact that you can spam this is incredibly powerful. The thing is, it has Pierce crit, and it is the only skill with 100% DP mod. So usual DP mods are 30 to 50. This is a whopping 100%. So if she fires this off, the likelihood that she breaks the enemy is pretty high. It's incredibly high. I think I could fire these off and break most bosses without setup outside of Waki minion buff. Have you felt that as the case as well, Red? I think so.
I've never used her, but I've seen lots of videos, and they all make her look very good.
Oh, you haven't tried her. Okay.
I have not, no.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I tried her when she first came out, and I fired that thing off, and it just broke the enemy, and I was like, what? This is crazy. I just used it once, no buffs on her outside of the minion buffs. Now, as you can see, this also looks crazy to begin with, but once you get to 2 stacks, which technically you should already be at 4, not 4 stacks, but stacks, but 4 allies, because she includes herself, who have the buff, right? As you can see, the weakness damage already increased to 500% damage instead of 400. By the way, if you see it says 500, that means plus 400% more damage. So in game, you'll see it say increased damage 400%, not 500. Key, did you miss anything? No, you have not missed anything. Don't worry about it. We just started. The other thing is that once you then have her at everyone having the Waki minion buff, she will give herself funnel twice, right? The large funnel. So she'll have 3 hits of 40%, which means that is 6 extra hits. And as you can already see, she already comes with a 10-hit counter, so it's a 16-hit ult that can be spammed. Not only that, you can't read it here, but I think at 2 stacks, I can't read it here because it's not written in Japanese here. It's too big. There's too much written. He doesn't have it written here. Feels bad.
Yeah, the SP costs, right?
But the SP cost goes down. I think looks like from 2 to 3. Yeah, it cuts in half. So right? It says 16 SP, it becomes 8. So you have an 8 SP spammable EX once you have everyone being a Waki minion that hits 16 times and Pierce crits. This thing can demolish high-end crazy content that has 400 million, 500 million million HP targets they're nothing, they're butter. You just spam this until they're dead. That's just how powerful she is as a unit. If you are an EN player and you're struggling against the 4.2 bosses, this girl will just demolish them like they're nothing. Like, you can have the most minimal of setups and just defend her with Aoi, and she will just destroy it alone. It's just that stupidly powerful. So she just can allow you to, what's the word for it? What the word am I looking for? Just like make a lot of the end game hard content basically obsolete just by owning her. So is it recommended to have her? I actually highly recommend to have her in JP. Obviously, when she comes out in EN, you do want to get her in the event that you like are free to play or low spender. Now, is it requirement to have her? No, by all means, no. She just makes life a lot easier. You don't have to try as hard, and if you're just wanting to have an easy time, you can just use her. So that's it for her being as a single target damage dealer at LB1. We'll go over the rest later, but that's the main big one to add to this list. Now we're gonna go over to the buffers for tier 9, and we'll go forward. But as of recently, Suit Tama, I know she came out in EN, and everyone's been using her. Whoever has rolled for her and saved for her, and having a fun time. I did too.
I love her.
she's great in EN. She'll be great for a while. But in JP, there's a lot more side grades. They aren't exactly actually better than her. In fact, in more regards, you can consider them kind of worse than her in terms of maximum potential damage. But she's just the worst of them in terms of, with combo with Ruka, just about how useful she is in extra regards. For instance, if you're running, for Lisa, for example, she has less potency than Tama for buffing, but she has the extra thing of being able to cleanse debuffs, right? So if you need to be able to cleanse debuffs, Tama can't really do any of that, and Issa would take that over. So in recent days, I personally have not used Suit Tama since February, really, just because they're just more options to use, and a lot of those more options are better in terms of like certain boss fights that say, hey, we're just gonna debuff you, or we're just gonna hit you really hard, and Thomas is just gonna kind of struggle through that, and it's just hard to want to field Tama over the side grades that JP has been releasing recently. Not that your damage increases by these side grades, but rather they have an extra utility boost that makes them feel better than Tama. So I actually don't really value Tama as highly anymore. She is still incredibly potent, but the top of tier 9 at LB1, I don't think she can hold that spot anymore. Just like how I actually don't think Muddy should also be here, but we can talk about her later. I think Tama can sit quietly a little bit lower. I don't think she would drop to tier 8 just yet. But I think she's like bottom of tier 9 in terms of just, how like nice she is to use in JP. The main thing that she has over the others, in my current opinion, is that the thing is that Diva, in order to use her properly, you want to have your main damage dealer with her in the front when you pop Diva in order to get the crit damage bonus. If you use Suit Tama, you can ignore doing that, and you can actually have Suit Tama buff them with her EX, because that will give 100% crit damage, and you don't have to worry about Ruka having to buff your main damage dealer with Diva in the front line in order to just maximize damage. So she has that mini utility, but that's about it. Red, how much have you been using Suit Tama in JP, at least, ever since, well, all the side grades? I don't know if you ever got any of them, but...
I've been using her for farming mostly, because at LB3 she still gets to use her ultimate on turn 1, but this is not an LB3 tier list, so I probably wouldn't use her if she was LB1.
Yeah, I feel the same. I have
But
her
I do still use
LB3.
her
So.
quite a lot, just because I
Oh
do a
yeah,
lot of farming.
yeah. I mean, I currently am trying to level up everyone, and she's just not on the list for that. Um, as for Mari, SS2, she has significantly fallen from grace. I actually, because of all the side grades for Tama, it actually made Mari 2 even less potent and less like powerful to use. I actually kind of dropping her sadly from tier 9, where she actually felt like she had a place due to the lack of side grades, to I think tier 7. I actually think she kind of drops in tier 7. I don't know if you agree with this, Red, but this is just how I feel about her as of recent. Just because she hasn't like I can't find a place where I would want to field her um, that much. We'll go to buffers now. Um, but Yotsuha, Adele, they're still kicking it. To be honest, they're still really strong. Um, Adele is even more powerful than she was before, uh, comparatively to when we last saw her in this tier list. The main reason behind that is her master skill, right? Uh, we haven't incorporated the master skill during this time in the tier list, but the master skill essentially says that. Oh, it's in Japanese. It didn't translate to English. You can't see it, but what it says is if she has Shadow Clone buff, she will taunt the enemy with the AoE cover that Aoi has, and then she will be able to dodge the next skill that hits, right? Um, as long as she has Shadow Clone buff, right? Because all Shadow Clone buff does is any damage that's supposed to be hit to her, she can dodge it, including the debuffs. And that's like the most important part, is she can dodge the debuffs as well. The thing about Adele 4 is that at the start of battle, she will give herself 2 stacks of Shadow Clone. So, technically speaking, though it's not advised because her EX actually works off of her Shadow Clone, um, you can dodge 2 turns of damage. As long as, I mean, 2 hits of damage in the very beginning of the fight, as long as she starts out in the very front. Now, the caveat to this like crazy master skill and this pass, I mean, and having these shadow clones is, yes, she has a common skill that gives her shadow clones, but she has to have a shadow clone at the start of the turn and be in the front in order to do the master skill AoE cover taunt. If you don't have that combination, she will not be taunting. So the problem with her is she's kind of a mini Aoi in a sense, because most of the time, if you do have her in the front and you use the Shadow Clone buff skill, 1 stack will be consumed on the turn she uses that, and it will not be an AoE cover, while the next turn it will, in the event that the boss does deal damage like AoE or deal some kind of damage to Adele, then that would happen. So just a thing to keep out on. But on bosses where they just heal themselves for a turn or you broke them just earlier or something, she's phenomenal for those. So just a little added thing. But overall, Adele, Yotsuha, they're kind of tied neck and neck on how useful they are, depending on what you want to bring to the table. Do you want her Adele's DR with her AoE cover, or do you want Yotsuha's like pure golden damage? Because the amount of buff that Yotsuha will bring to the table is way higher than Adele's. So I think it's about like, I think it's like 60% higher or 70% higher. It's crazy. When are we going through the tier listing for EN? We did that a couple months ago. And you can check that out on the EN tab over here, right? We also have a stream for this. Granted, I might add a little bit more later because it seems like they're zooming through some content as of recent. Because we
Yeah,
only went to
Unison
Mega.
Roof
Yeah.
is coming up. Very
Yeah, right.
exciting.
But just quick note, yeah, since someone asked. But yeah, so these are how I feel about these two. I can make my little segue here to Seika 4. I don't have a picture. Rem hasn't uploaded it for me yet.
Alright.
But she is the newest unit in JP right now. She actually is pretty powerful, and she is a buffer for fire. Her EX skill is 14 cost SP, and she will give this basically the same buff as Yotsuha, but it's going to be turn based, which means 2 stacks of the buff on one usage. The main issue behind this is that it will only buff the front line, so you have to use it in a way that you can actually use it. So when the main damage is in the front and she's in the front, you can pop this, and then for 5 turns, your main damage dealer can deal their mega damage. You just have to time this, but the thing to note is that this buff, funny enough, is actually not as powerful as Yotsuha's buff. However, because Yotsuha's like most powerful part of her kit actually is tied to her LB3, and we won't count that, but for Higu is counted into her LB0 passive, she actually gets a boost in her attack up effectiveness by 25%. Now, this, not that you can read Japanese, most likely, but this says that if you have 3 or more fire units in your team, then she will gain this passive, which most likely you will. So she is more powerful than Yotsuha if both are LB1. At LB3, technically Yotsuha is a little bit more powerful if you are not able to abuse this LB3 passive of being able to give everyone more SP if she's given more SP from an active skill. But we're not talking about LB3s. So in this case, right, Seika 4 is actually considered higher tier than Yotsuha and Adele, just merely to the fact of she has the highest amount of potency in buffing, and she is incredibly powerful when it comes to just being able to buff. I won't put it right here, actually. There's someone else I want to put there. But that's kind of where Seika 4 is. Sadly, no photo. Rem said he'll upload it later today, so I'll get it later today. Whoever I want to put next to her, since we got, I don't think she gets used anywhere else, so we're gonna get rid of that. The thing we want to talk about here is Tsukasa 5. Tsukasa 5 is
She's so
probably, I think she is the second, if not the best, depending on how you feel about certain things, best buffer in the game. At least as a buffer for her element. She will only be able to buff ice. She does what Yotsuha does, which is brings giant enhance, brings large ice enhance plus ice crit damage and ice crit, and not only that, but also brings a large ice field. It makes her so incredibly powerful. I think we should just do this because no one else. It makes her so incredibly powerful. She is probably de facto, not de facto, but like tied kind of for like the best buffer. We might actually have to move a couple of these buffers down a tier just because of like how powerful she is. Because there's only one other buffer right now that kind of matches her. We can go over a little bit later, but we're kind of running out of space. Maybe I should just lower everyone a tier here, just to make it easier for us to deal with all this. Okay, so we'll just get rid of all these guys. And Adele and Yotsuha can probably go down a tier, because Seika needs to at least go down a tier, right? I think this is fair. What are your takes on this, Red? I think this is pretty fair, because clearly Tsukasa's better than
really
Seika.
Good.
Yeah. We'll move these out.
The gold standard for modern day buffer.
Yep. So brings field,
Fine
brings
example.
all the buffs for your element. Gold standard. I agree. Just too powerful.
I love using Ice Team because of her.
Yeah, she's just so stupidly powerful. Go to general debuffers. So these are neck and neck, probably the most potent debuffers in the game for general sense. Mia and Fubuki. You'll see a lot of people in JP run Mia over Fubuki more so, and there is a reason for that. That is an LB3 passive that makes her more viable comparatively to Fubuki, but we're only talking about LB1, so it's a little bit different. With LB1, I still value Fubuki more than Mia 2. The reason behind that is this is in the event you have Fubuki 2, by the way. Okay, is Fubuki 2 allows you to gain a lot of OD at the cost of basically all of her DP until it's matched to 1. So it is kind of important to make sure that you pop her commons, the SS2 common skill at the right time, or else she will actually just die from the next hit. The next little breeze that the enemy will blow at Fubuki's way. Both Fubuki and Mia will decrease defense and apply fragile in one EX. The main difference is Fubuki's skill is a little bit cheaper. However, to hit it off twice, it costs 24 SP versus Mia's 21 SP because she has half cost if the enemy has fragile. Fubuki, on the other hand, if you are hitting her EX on during OD, she will be able to use a misfortune debuff on top of it. What is it called, Ian? Enfeeble?
Enfeeble.
Enfeeble debuff on top of that. So I personally, mix and match these two in a sense if I want, if I cared enough for LB like 1's sake, but since my Mia 2 is LB3, I just use her exclusively. The other thing that Mia does over Fubuki is Mia has a new master skill, plus 2 SP to everyone, including herself, whenever she uses her EX. EX1, EX2, doesn't matter. And so be able to battery everyone, very powerful. So these two at LB1, it depends on which one you value. Do you value the SP battery, or do you value the OD? Depending on that, which one do you think is better? Right now, I put Fubuki higher than Mia, but to be honest, I'd put them pretty equal. And to be honest, at the current time being, I actually want to lower Fubuki. So I'll just put her like right next to. I don't feel like she is actually these debuffers are as valuable as people say and think they are, because everything else is just so much more powerful as of recent. But it's not like they became weaker or they're like bad. They're actually just really, really strong, but there's just more and more strong things that are coming out that makes them feel a little bit less strong. So everyone in this tier list, not everyone, but a lot of characters in this tier list are actually just getting pushed down a little bit because of a lot of the new things that are coming out. I don't think we've gotten a new general debuffer.
Not really, no.
No, I don't think so. So we don't have to go over that. But yeah, so that's how I feel about them. As you can see, Fubuki lower tier, but that's because these type of debuffers are a little bit on the lower tier, in my opinion, as of current. Let's go over the elemental debuffers. The fun stuff. There's been a mixed match. We'll add in someone's favorite, Red's favorite one, Ichigo 3, into the mix.
Nice. Only at LB1 though.
Only LB1. I want to put her here for now, but that's just because I need a spot for her. That's not where she's supposed to land.
Yep.
It's just putting a spot. Is there anyone else? Oh yeah, the other girl. Hell yeah. We want extra spots, so I want to put her here for now. She's not actually rated there. I'm just placing her for placeholder so we can move things around when we get there. Is there anyone else? Elemental debuffer that we should go over? I don't think so. Yeah, everyone else is fine. The other ones are either not powerful enough or they're not there. Yeah, so we finally have light overwrite and we have fire overwrite. In fact, I'm probably just gonna lower everyone here, the whole entire tier, because this is just the way things are. So. First of all, Megu should not be with these overriders anymore, so she should be lower here. But here we have our overriders. Out of our overriders, The most useful one, even at LB1, is probably Ichigo, right? I don't view her in the uh, what's called the tier 10 because she actually has a very annoying gimmick to deal with at LB1. I use her currently at LB2, and she still has the gimmick is like not as like bad at LB3, and I really kind of want her at LB3 because that's where she kind of boosts up her stride. Her main thing that you have to go over a kit pretty quickly is that she has an 18 cost skill that will do light overwrite. It's AoE, and she has AoE defense down that's going to be permanent, right? So she has eternal AoE defense down, which is kind of crazy because the defense down amount is the same amount as if this skill was single target instead of AoE, which is kind of nuts. You'll notice that this part seems kind of nuts, 50% more OD, as well as 6-hit AoE, and you're sitting there going, wow, but this thing costs 18 SP, how am I going to do that? That's where her common skill comes in, right? So her common skill will decrease your overdrive by 50% and increase your everyone's front line, including her, SP by 6. And as you can see, where the kind of issue comes in is this overdrive gauge minus 50% is pretty hefty, and it's kind of funny because her EX will increase it by 50%, so you pretty much gain nothing from using both. On top of that, the fact that if you are only hitting single target, you are going to like if instead you just auto attack twice, you would have gotten 6 hits of OD, and this hits 6 times. So you effectively gain 0 OD if you are like just thinking out plainly. Now, this skill, since it deals damage, we can consider it to be useful with OD earrings. Now, if you have OD earrings, that would actually increase how much OD you gain, including this 50% OD. So that's how she gets more and more OD, and gets OD for your team very quickly. The reason why this is kind of like weird for LB1 and not LB3 is at LB3 you get the passive that it only happens one time. If you're under 0 OD, she will gain 50% OD. So the first turn, if you pop this skill here, you actually will never feel the effects of this 50% OD down because she will just just throw it out there again the next following turn. So you basically get a extra 50% OD boost. It is incredibly powerful. Actually, not 50% OD boost. You actually just get the 6 SP boost, like for free, basically. It's incredibly powerful, and that's what makes her very strong. Is this kit is just fully put together. If you really need her SS1's defense up, you also have an option for defense up as well as a Lionheart taunt, which will provide defense up for herself when she gets hit, right, for that turn. So very strong, very potent, very versatile. And honestly, the strongest part of her kit is she can be used in basically any team. She doesn't actually have to be used in a light team. She's just ideally used in a light team. So that's what makes her the best. I think Red here can probably agree with that.
She's an excellent generalist unit that you can put on most teams. Were you still talking about Ichigo?
Yeah, Ichigo, yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
excellent.
Yeah, like excellent unit. So, quick. Then we go to like what would be next best, considering like what we have. So all the rest of them are pretty similar in how potent they are, except for Tsukasa is probably considered the weakest one out of the bunch, even though, funny enough, she is still required for a dark team. And even if no one is dark on her team and can utilize her buff, dark is still one of, I think it's like the third highest, if not the third or second highest damage output total if you have everything like maxed out. Like it's kind of weird. They have one of the highest like damage counters, even if she herself, Tsukasa, who's supposed to be used, is basically worthless outside of the fact that she does overwrite. It's kind of funny, but yeah. Out of these, I personally like in LB1. I actually like Hisame and Misato, uh, pretty much equal. They have essentially the same kit. The main difference is Hisame can get her extra turn anytime, which then can trigger her EX to be half cost. While Misato has a thing where she will have reduced cost on her common skill whenever there's OD, and if there's OD after her EX, her common skill. After EX, you get another turn. So both of these are really good for looping, especially if you use with Duka, who can give 3 turns worth of extra hits. They can just help you loop. I can't really say which one is what people would consider better or worse. However, I would personally say that Misato's probably slightly better because she has the ability to have the utility of her SS1 of providing +5 SP to everyone during overdrive. How important that is, it's good for looping, but like if you're this low, it's not too important. But overall, I think Misato is just slightly edging over Hisame, but not by much. As for Shadow and Tsukasa, they're pretty similar both in how useful they are. Outside the fact that Shadow is probably considered much better because she does more things. That doesn't mean that Tsukasa is losing out. Just because her SS1 EX will provide 20% boost for buffs. There's just a lot of increases in potency that just makes them strong. But overall, very strong. Defender. So, tier 9 defenders. Red. I think
What's up?
you might agree with me. I'm not sure if you do, but I think we do have a new tier 9 defender. Finally. I don't know if you agree with me, but I actually think she deserves this spot. I'm talking about Seda 4. I think Seda 4,
Yeah.
I think she deserves tier 9 defender. She does not defend as well as Aoi does, but her kit is just so good that I think she deserves a tier 9 in the defender section. Not the top of tier 9, I'd say like the bottom of tier 9, like somewhere around here. And we'll go over her kit since she is new. So, she is. I think she is. She deserves this spot, and that's because. Man, I just repeat myself all the time. I need to stop. But she is a defender, and the funniest thing about her is she actually has a lot of damage mitigation from herself. That's what her tiers increase, and so she's very tanky even at LB0. So I use her at LB0, and she's still really phenomenal for me when I do use her. The main thing you have to understand is that at battle start, right, if she's in the front, she'll gain +2 SP, which her thing is all about ramping. So you have to ramp her up. So in the beginning, she's not that great, and as she uses her EX more, she becomes stronger. Everything else is not like crazy, as you can see. LB1 is the regular +1 SP in the front, and she actually comes with Walkie Minion buff to begin with. Now, this buff doesn't really mean much for her because she doesn't deal any damage. But if, in the event that you do have Bungo Unison in your team, she gets +1 SP every turn, which is very, very potent, right? Her EX actually ramps up. So every time you use it, it gets stronger. Just like how for Bungo, it was that the more minions for Walkie minions there are, her EX gets stronger. For her, it's like how many times you used it, right? So if you only used it on the first time, all it gives you is a 3-turn defense buff. Now this doesn't seem so strong, but like once you level it up, this thing goes up to 53% damage reduction. So anything that should deal 5k DP damage only hits for 2.5k. It's incredibly powerful, incredibly potent. right? At the second use, um, this will now remove one debuff from the front line. So now, if your ally has any kind of debuff, boom, gone. Just like the first instance, obviously, just one debuff. Now, some bosses can do multiple debuff at the same time, and this is where she becomes even more powerful. The third time you use this, she will not only give defense buff and remove a debuff, she removes an additional debuff, because two debuffs now, and provides a frontline attack up for 3 turns, right? And this does not scale with level. That's why she's not as powerful as like Tama, but she is a Tama side grade. You can get an attack up. On top of, on the fourth one, you also get a turn-based Mind Eye. So, as you can see, at like the fourth time you use this skill, you get defense buff, 3 debuff removals, a attack up, and a Mind Eye. All of them turn-based for 3 turns. And this only costs you 8 SP. And you thought, maybe this is an EX skill. Does it have a skill use count? The answer is no. So she can just continuously fire this off, and you can just have just like 50% damage reduction all the time. Like for everyone. Not everyone, but like everyone in the front line. Like pretty much all the time. While giving this attack buff and this Mind Eye buff. This is also very, very like put together to scale with Bungo, as Bungo will always have attack up, Mind Eye, and this defense buff to survive in the front line, and can fire off her EX like continuously. It's crazy. To top it all off, if you're like, man, she's gonna be using this skill that doesn't provide me with OD, her passive, which is not exclusive, you can put this on any version of her, will increase the overdrive gauge by 10%, which is crazy, right? And so it's, if you remember, each auto attack is 7.5%, so it's even higher, slightly higher than a auto attack is. Now, if you remember also, Seda SS1 will now provide another turn-based crit rate up and crit damage up. Now, this is, of course, is not as high as Diva and as high as, like, you know, Sutama, but it is still 60% crit damage, so you still don't miss out on all the crit damage buffs. And the craziest part is with Bungo, you don't need Diva because, well, Diva hit count buff is not needed on Bungo. She can still get crit damage from here. It's a little bit lower, but like, it's easy. It's just so much potential. So because she can give crit buff, crit damage buff, defense buff, Mind Eye, and all the sorts, she deserves like in tier 9, above Aoi even. Of course, like the standard Aois, right? Because of like Admiral's still better. And so if you do have her with even Admiral Aoi, that her EX skill is going to cost 7 SP. She can spam this like no tomorrow. So this just makes her just really powerful. So she deserves a spot in the bottom of tier 9, in my opinion. Okay. Let's see. Just a sec. Okay. And next we have healers. I don't think the things have changed too much. I think Lisa is still bottom of tier 9 because she pretty much does what's like just does Mind Eye plus enhance while getting rid of debuffs. She does her job. The main difference is now she has her SS1 now has morale boost. So they actually upgraded her skill from having 2 turns of 20 stat increase to just pure morale boost. So she actually gets morale goes up to 10 stacks, and so you can get 4 stacks from this skill. So if you use it 3 times, you're already done. And this skill will, like what morale will do is it would increase everyone's stats by 50 forever, right? Instead of 20 for 2 turns. And then increase your skill attack by up to 50%. So very potent, very strong. And if you do run her with 31D, so you need 2 other 31D characters, this skill, instead of being 14 cost, it costs 7. So it's really cheap. If you want to spam this 3 times with Ruka around, you can put hit count buff on Ruka, from Ruka onto her, and she could spam this 3 times, and boom, you have a lot of OD. So the three, I mean, the not three, but like the extra OD and everything puts her pretty much in this spot, as long as there is a debuff present for her to abuse. Outside of that, not that great. Oh, nice! I got her on a free summon a while ago. Oh, talking about Orisa 3. In JP, yeah, she's pretty good as long as the enemy has debuffs. If they don't have debuffs, she's pretty garbage. That's why it says debuff here. And if she doesn't have debuffs, she basically is just trash. Just don't worry about her. Now we're going to utility supports. Wait, do we have any healers that like worth putting up there? Guess not.
There's the new Miko 3, Miko 4.
Mika 4. I mean, I wouldn't put her in tier 9 though. I
No,
put her
she's a
like
healer.
I know, but she's not in tier 9. We're going over like what can hit high. Everyone's probably gonna be like lowered by 1 tier anyways. Here, we could just do that now, and then we can move everyone who needs to be moved later. There we go. Wow, this utility side is also gonna need a little bit of room. Everyone needs wiggle room. Oh no. Everyone needs so much more wiggle room. It's so bad. Wow. Okay. So it happens when you haven't updated the tier list in a long time. Okay. So let's go on to our tier 9s. Man, this is bad. I think need to do this so people can tell what tier they're on. Tier 9s for utility supports. So for like before we had Aina 2 and Koju 3. I think both of them haven't really been used, if not like felt, in a long time. Actually, Aina's still really good, but because she's more of like utility plus defense and fragile, which is kind of taken by Fubuki and Mia, she's just not as utilized anymore than she used to be. She's still really powerful. Like, don't get me wrong, it's just not as crazy. And Koju recently got a new style where her common skill allows her to have a hit count buff of 2 times 20, no, 5 times 20, which is the normal like times 2 version of Union buff, and give it to an ally as long as she has, I think it was 6 morale, right? 6 morale, so
Yeah.
3 uses. Yeah, 3 uses of her EX. So I still think she's actually really powerful. Just they're just better options, so you just don't see her. As for other utility users, I think we can add Yuina to the mix. But overall, Aina, not as seen. I wouldn't put her top of 9 anymore, just because there's just kind of better options lately. If in fact, I might just lower both of them by 1 tier, and then we can go over a couple utility users while we're trying to see who can basically punch to top of 9, right? I think, I mean, well, not top, but like in 9. Yuina is going to be part of utility. She does a bunch of stuff. So utility, buffing, blah, blah, but she's more so utility than anything else. I think she deserves a spot in tier 9, but bottom of tier 9, really. Bottom of tier 9. The reason behind that is because she can give everyone tokens. She can increase their SP gain for every turn by 1, and she can build DR while building a crazy amount of OD. So overall, very powerful unit. And in light, you'll see she's used like pretty much all the time, everywhere, because she's just, her utility is just too high, and thus she is used in this case. I think she deserves bottom of tier 9, and I think Red would probably say the same with how stupidly strong she made light.
Yep. Seems fine.
The other utility user is actually Bungo. Bungo has been seen in a lot of looping and a lot of like extra stuff, but anything you see in JP about her is actually associated more towards her LB3, LB4, sorry, LB4 passive. So not as potent, and so I would put her more in like tier 8 for utility. Not as good, but still very good because she can break the boss, which is also part of the utility that she has, right, without much effort. And the fact that she can give 16 hits worth of OD and it's unlimited uses. And funny enough, you can accidentally kill the enemy while trying to loop for your main damage dealer with her. So I would put her in that utility of tier 8, and Yuina would stay here in tier 9. I don't really want her to be here, so I'm just going to put her here. It's kind of weird and awkward. But overall, I think pushing everyone down because Yuina is just that powerful, and everyone else doesn't feel as good anymore to use as utility. I think this is a pretty fair assessment when it comes to this, where these girls are viable. These are not as like viable anymore, and that these ones are strong, but like you ultimately don't see them as much unless you're running Pierce Crit. Then you're kind of forced to use Kuda. Actually, wait, Kuda should deserve to go to tier 8. That's for sure. With Bungo. That's for sure. I totally forgot about them. Boop. There we go. There we go. So, that's kind of where utility support has gone recently. In terms of the top, we have Yuina. Aina still pretty much there at the top. Bungo is making her way because of how much hit count she has. She also gives the 30% more weakness. And the Kudas are just very powerful. The main reason behind that is they actually got a new master skill, right? And the main important part about the master skill is that the only thing they added is, I mean, they got rid of this, the defense down thing, self-defense down, but they made it so then you actually give the whole party 5 SP. This is very powerful because you not only do DR, but you also provide 5 SP to the whole team. So it makes just doing things for Pierce Crit so much easier. And even if you're not running Pierce Crit, she just makes life easy. So, yeah, very good unit. Deserves to be still in tier 8. She hasn't really moved her in position, technically speaking, because this was the position around where she was before. But, yeah, these girls are probably top of the bunch in terms of utility. However, the thing is that a lot of them, outside of Yuina and Bungo, they overlap a lot with other units. So, can Yuina 5 be used in any team? The answer is no. I wouldn't use her in any team. Bungo would be more so used in any team, and so would Kuda, but her utility is just very powerful in terms of for light. The reason behind it is because the reason why you would use her more so is that if you look with Yuina's thing is that you get all this DR and an 8-hit AoE, right? So that's a lot of extra stuff that she brings. Tokens, if you need tokens, right? And not only that, but not this. She gives +1 SP to anyone who has 4 more tokens per turn, right? The main other thing is that she gives the highest amount of crit damage in the game, but only to light. So there are better options to use than Yuina when you're not running light. But light is like de facto, you really want to use her. If you don't use her, you're kind of inting in light. I think this is pretty standard. I think this is pretty good. I think pretty standard on where utility lies. Oh wait, I should just lower this too so people can see what I have here. Cool. I think we can come to an agreement on that. Okay. Let's go to our damage dealers. Right? Damage dealers, Sumomo 3, even without LB3, I think she's still um, like one of the characters that you should put in a highlight. She doesn't deal crazy damage. She just can kill anything, if that makes sense, because it's Pierce crit. Irene 2 is put here as well because of the same issues. I mean, the same things that she has. But I think there are a lot better options as of recent, and a lot more things we can count on. I think just that I don't know. I feel like Irene 2, like no one uses her. Like absolutely no one uses her. Do you know anyone who uses her anymore, Red? I think like no one.
I haven't seen her used.
I haven't seen her used since Bungo, right?
Yep.
Yeah, ever since Bungo, like even before Bungo, like I think ever since Sumomo, you just never seen her, right? Yeah, I haven't really seen her since Sumomo came out. So I don't know. I still think she's powerful due to the like pure script, but I don't think we should value her as high. So I think I might lower her. Anyways, to put in perspective, I think we should kind of elevate some of these girls down here as well as potentially add from said list around here. Damage. I think we can agree that is SS5 unit in the Fire Override banner. That is correct. They share a banner. That banner is just busted. I think it's like one of the best banners in existence. Ruka 5+1. I think we can add here, or not next to him. I think we should put it. We should move Irene here for now, because I feel like I don't want to mislead En to thinking that she's like super good, like too good. What do you think, Red? I don't want to mislead En, because like she is good, but like I feel like it's better to care about some of these girls over.
She's just surrounded by characters who are also very good.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. I think Sumomo should still be considered a higher tier because she can just kill things by herself. I think the new god here, Yuina 5+1. Ow! Wow, I just hurt myself. Don't worry about me. Ow! Hit my funny bone. Ooh. So if you don't know, currently in JP, if the boss is weak to everything, Yuina 5+1 is kind of the like the highest score attacking, like the highest scoring damage dealer as of right now. So we're gonna put her to the top here, just because of that. It's very powerful. I think we can run Fubuki as well, since she's that powerful. She does not need LB3, but LB3 makes her life a lot easier. Let's see. I think this is a better representation. I think we can lower Irene to tier 9. And I know this is like, I'm not saying too many thoughts, but this is mostly because damage dealers are just really hard to gauge and really hard to talk about on like what is good and what's not good, due to the fact that you can use pretty much any of the top damage dealers and you won't feel much of a difference, to be fair. Like for instance, Maria 3 actually deals more damage than Nuka 5+1 in the most ideal setup, but how hard it is to get that setup, or how much you have to roll for that setup, it really changes things. And so you have to like kind of think about that and worry about that, right? Move this. Okay. Give me a sec. I need to use the restroom, so I'll be right back. If you want to go over anything, you can take the wheel for a little bit.
Welcome back.
Sorry, guys. Did new Admiral push Yuina 5+1 ahead of Mona 2? In terms of maximum damage, that is correct. It's not as free-to-play friendly, though. That's the thing. Because new Admiral is not free-to-play friendly. Kind of wish we could add a free-to-play chart on there. What do you mean by a free-to-play chart? I don't know what that means. Um, as for the rest here, we have some damage dealers that could make this list, so we can go over a couple of them. Mona 3, I think she is pretty crazy when you think about it as a free-to-play standpoint. She alone can pretty much give herself 2 different buffs. She can give herself Mind Eye, and she can give herself Light Enhance. So she actually just does very well as a light damage dealer, because funny enough, Mona 2 actually wants Mona 3 to function, while Mona 3 does not need anything. She just has herself, right? And so I think Mona 3 probably deserves this spot. You can still see her putting up really big numbers in JP, comparable to Yuina 5+1. And you don't need Admiral for Mona 3 to do her thing. So that's just how things work, right? And I don't think anyone else... Yeah, we haven't really had very many damage dealers recently, huh? In JP? Like, they're all supports.
Nope, it's mostly been support.
Supports. Ever since Bungo, it's like been supports. Maria 3, I think, deserves here just because of her damage output is crazy high. We can go over that a little bit later. But I think... Yeah, I think this looks about right in terms of damage and usability and utility and everything put together. What are your thoughts on this, Red? We can go over a little bit deeper on the newly changed and newly added stuff. But does it seem about right?
Yeah.
With what you've been seeing with score attacks and whatnot? And I don't know how much you've been looking into things, but...
I'm just thinking if Monica should be above Fubuki or not.
I think she's easier to use than Fubuki. That's for sure. I don't really think too hard when it comes like sideways. When it goes sideways, I usually just put whoever I think should be at the top here, and then everyone else is pretty equal. Like I don't know. That's how I see it. It just
Then leave it however you feel like.
It's because it's like at that point it's like you're just nitpicking. You know what I mean? Like it's so nitpicky. It's basically the same. But we'll talk about the newly added stuff real quick. Yuina 5+1, very powerful. In this case, I don't think that she is better than any of these. I think everyone in this part of the list deserves just this part overall. So Mona 3 versus Yuina 5+1, honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm going to say that right now. It just does not matter. As for here, we have our newly added Maria 3, and we'll just go over her thing real quick, right? The main thing you should realize about Maria 3 is that she actually has more damage potential than Diva does, funny enough, right? And so the main reason behind that is her EX skill has a HP mod, and it has her personal DP mod. So if she is at 150% DP, this skill will deal much higher damage. I think it's like 80% more damage or something. I don't remember off the top of my head, honestly. Or was it 50? Something crazy like that. But her base damage is so high, and she can make herself have the 150% DP because she has a skill that allows herself to actually heal herself for, as you can see, 2.8k DP, and can recover right here, right, up to 150% of her own DP. And if you look here, she can increase, as long as she's in the front, to increase how much she heals herself by 10%. So she is very put together when it comes to her kit on making sure she can deal the most damage, but she does not buff herself by any means, like 0, right? And that's something that you should be wary about. But outside of that, just like Kanade, just very strong, very easy to use. There are so many avenues for mind eye nowadays that we're worrying about Kanade's mind eye being like much more powerful than Maria not being able to do that is just not that big of an issue at this point. And yeah, the rest of this is kind of where characters kind of lie in terms of damage. I think there's no more in single trait damage outside of Waki. Waki 4, um, she's an interesting one. On her release, people were saying, "Oh man, she looks so good. She's so good." In JP, we've never seen her outside of her first, uh, outside of her debut score attack. She has not been used, like pretty much ever. Uh, I think I've only seen her used once, ever since her debut. I think. Red, have you seen her be used? I think I've only seen her used once after outside of her score attack.
I use her a lot. She's one of like my favorite damage dealers to use.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, I guess you use ice a lot though.
But like in
Um,
terms of score attack, she doesn't do anything special. She's mostly good
yeah,
at just like using her ultimate 3 turns in a row, taking advantage of timed buffs for each nuke,
yeah,
which
but
is not lending itself well to high score attack.
yeah. So she's not very great for score attack stuff. She's pretty good when it comes to like challenge content, in my opinion. Right, you build a
Yeah,
little bit
use
of
her in
OD.
tower or in hard
Yeah,
mode.
and you build
She'll
some
do great.
OD, you can break the enemy, and then this becomes 0 cost when the enemy is down, which means that they have to just have been broken, and then you just spam this and you just kind of die because they do. um, but yeah, that's about it. I can't because this kind of ranges closer to score attack than anything else, as well as challenging content. I can't really see her too high, as in like in the tier 9s. Um, in fact, she would fit closer to probably down here a little bit with how things are. So I would probably put Waki here. I think would be, and I think that would be fair, right here, and strong. Boop. She is strong. Just that's about it. The other thing to note is the Adele 3 is actually making a comeback as of recently. I am going to push her up a tier um, because, well, she has been showing up pretty prominently. Uh, and I actually want to showcase her to be that much of a recent, like, on the rise and put her here. Uh, Funny enough, her ice version, even though it's not that much different, has not been performing as well as her dark version. So her dark version actually been performing incredibly well in JP recently, and so it's to keep track of that. The other one to funny enough keep track of is Inori 3+1. But the thing about Annually 3 plus 1 is you need more limit breaks. So I don't really want to put her on this limit break 1 list because it's not as potent, but funny enough, because she can build her own DR and and the fact how strong Dark is right now, she is seen at a pretty good light. I will not put her on the list though because it's kind of misleading because it's more of an LB3 kind of damage power than it is anything else. I think that's about it for LB1.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah. For AoE, I think we can lower Irene at this point. I feel like it's overrated at this point.
Yeah, her damage is pretty
It's just pretty.
insignificant now.
I think we should put her here. It's just so insignificant in JP that like I can't tell people, man, she's so good because he's like, no, just she's okay. Um, and instead of Yuina here, we just put Mona up here. LB1, right? We have actually, Mona should probably be tied with Inori here. Yeah, because we still have we're speaking as if we have Mona 3. on top of that. And then this Mona can go up 1. And did anyone also change here? Don't think so. I mean, we could increase some of these, but like I don't think anyone. Yeah, that's about it. You know, 4 is still really good, but you don't see too much AoE anymore. Yeah, that's about it. Not much has changed here in the top. Trying to see, did anyone else get added? Nah, that's about it. Yeah, I think this is it, right? Because the movements we made is Inori's still de facto the best AoE in terms of like usage. In fact, in JP, she is really heavily utilized still. So congrats to any EN player that has her. Good job pulling on her banner or getting luck sack. She's still super good. Mona 2 with Mona 3 getting added to the pool has become one of the hardest hitting, if not the hardest hitting, AoE damage source. But you have to use light, right? UNF 4 is still incredibly powerful, and as long as weak to ice, she is de facto the one you want to use, even over Misato, who has a lot of utility as well. Mona 1 is now even more powerful than before because, well, obviously you have her Mona 2's ability of giving Mind Eye. Now, you don't really need that if you do have Admiral, the new Admiral, but the fact that you don't have to have the new Admiral to have Mind Eye on her is incredibly a giant buff. So, done. Right there, right? And everyone else hasn't moved yet much because, well, I mean, to be honest, we haven't had too many, like, new AoEs or anything to, like, change how a lot of the AoE damage dealers go. If you're wondering how good Nanami SS1 is at LB1, she's pretty bad. In fact, I would put her probably here. LB1. I don't know. She's fringe because at LB1, because to use her you have to be at LB3, and even then she's kind of fringe. I use her all the time in JP because I want to, and I maxed her out as best I can. But yeah, to be fair, completely fair, she is not good whatsoever. The reason behind it is at LB1, in order to use her EX, oh wait, Nanami's EX, you need 8 EP, and you only gain 1 EP per turn. So at turn 10, turn 8, you can finally use her EX. And that's about it. This skill is kind of obsolete for the most part, and it'll consume a lot of DP from your allies. And every turn, because she is a rider, she will actually deplete your whole team's DP by 7%, which is pretty big. It is pretty cope. So, yeah, Nanami is not worth rolling for. She's just waifu pick. She's pretty bad. Everyone else kind of doesn't change too much. Nothing's really occurred except for Sumomo is now better. Since they did give her a buff, a pretty massive one at that. Enough for me to like punch her up to like here. She's like in strong tier. She's not broken by any means, but she is very, very strong right now. Yeah, I can add Koju 4 to the list. Bento. Koju 4 is pretty good, but her issue is that she is more so a dungeon crawler than she is a score attacker. The main thing you have to understand is at 6 morale, she can actually have a nice amount of damage because of her HP mod, but her base damage, as you can see, is incredibly low. It's very weak. The greatest part about her is her DR rate is actually incredibly high, at 23.2 for an AoE. So most AoEs are like 15 or 16. She has one of the highest ones. And if she's at 6 morale, this thing will actually be half cost. So it actually costs 8 instead of 16. And the as you can see, there's like a use limit here. There is no use limit anymore. So she is incredibly powerful when it comes to dungeon crawling. But for score attack, she's kind of eh. Her common skill gives a hit count buff, funnel. Sadly, it's not large funnel, it's just normal funnel. But the main issue is that you can only use this skill if she has 6 morale. Now, if you notice, none of her skills give her morale. So you're like, well, what about her passives? Right? If she kills an enemy, she'll gain morale. You cannot gain morale at most boss fights, unless of course they have what's it called again? They spawn mobs, so kind of worthless, to be honest. And yeah, so she's not that good. I think she's just viable at best. I can't see her any more than that. But in DR and utility, I think she is incredibly potent. And can basically be around here, to be honest. She's pretty good, especially even if it's single target, she's pretty good. But yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, we're gonna go over to tier 8s for buffers. Let's see here. Is Chie 4 a viable DPS? The answer is no. The answer is anyone who deals damage is technically viable for DPS, but like, she doesn't hit that hard. She hits very wet noodle. I have her limit break 2.5. Not worth using. So let's go over our tier 8s. Red, you still around?
I'm still around. What do you need me for?
Okay. Well, I need you for everything, my friend. Anyways, I still value my unions to be tier 8. We actually have a new union. Is she even a healer? I actually don't remember.
I forget what she does.
She's a healer.
I
Yeah,
think
she's a
she's a
healer.
31x only gets healers now.
Yeah, it's 30. That's not 31x anymore. It's 31h.
Yeah.
For healer, only Shadow doesn't need healer because you know why she doesn't need healer?
Because
Gotta
she's
read
part
her
of
event.
31A.
No. You gotta read her event. That's why. She doesn't need one.
That too.
Because everyone's a healer because they need to heal themselves. She's the only one who doesn't need to. Read her event if you need to know. Her kit is this union is a healer union, but we're still gonna put her in buffer because she's more so a buffer. She is kind of your, how do you put it? Your mini diva. But what she does is essentially she'll put out a field, which is a new type of field. This field will not overwrite your current field. It actually goes on top of your field, right? That you have, and this field will trigger, as you can see here, is this trigger at the start of turn when ally is broken. All it does is it revives their deflector by 50%. And field gone after that. As you can see, every time you use this skill, you can always have this field. This thing costs 14 SP. It's pretty heavy. But here we go. First time use, you got 5 SP, and then after that, good luck. You only got a heal. The heal is still pretty potent at 2.4, and I think this is the one that increases. But I don't have her, and I don't think most people have her. She is more so the, what do you put it?
She fits into this archetype I tend to call a home screen style.
Yeah, home screen style. She's very pretty. Look at this, like, very pretty. Her EX is also really pretty, but she's not that great. She herself is not that great. Her EX skill, as you can see here, is she heals by dealing damage. So she is your new um Pierce crit damage dealer. Yay! Except for she hits like a wet noodle because it's 300% and only 5k potency. Wow. But here's the thing. She will recover HP on DP, right? Um, for damage dealt. To be honest, this common skill is pretty good. Maybe in future Union styles, this will be very useful. But as of right now, Union's just not useful. So we don't worry about her. Her LB0 passive is as long as she has the territory, everyone in the party gets 7% DP. So she can keep your team alive really, really well and really easily. I have not used her personally, but I have seen others use her, and she actually can keep a team alive. She's probably one of the better healers in terms of keeping your team alive, but outside of that, she doesn't really do anything for you, right? Um, and so I personally think she's probably like one of the better unions to use in terms of like being able to heal and do a bunch of different things. I don't know if I want to put her in buffer or in healer territory. Do you think I should put her in healer territory because she's technically more of a healer? Red?
I think she probably is more of a healer. Yeah.
Okay. We'll put her in healer territory because I actually think she's one of the strongest healers in terms of like not just healing ability, but because she also has SS1 Union, right? Attached to her. We could put her like bottom of 8, I think. I think that's fair. Bottom of 8. Because I don't know exactly where to put her, but she's good overall. Welcome Rihu. And field effect also pretty. Yeah, the field effect is also pretty. There's a lot like the Union is just really pretty. Sadly, just not that great. It's just unfortunate, very unfortunate. Um, I I would love to be able to use her, but she's gonna be one of the few styles that like I'll never get to use. Like I never get to see her EX that often because, not never, I will rarely get to use her EX because I just have no reason to use her, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so all the unions are still high tier, still tier 8. Because if you don't have hit count buff, I'm sorry, you're just not dealing as much damage. And she's just really strong and potent in that regard. She has defense down, hit count buff, strong, enhance. That's really all you need, to be honest. If you don't have Diva, she is your go-to, right? We did move these two girls down, so I'm not going to talk about them since they did get moved down. However, we're going to talk about a new buffer in town. And one of my favorites, actually. Iroha 3. We have a new buffer in town. Iroha 3. Iroha 3, I'm gonna delete these because we don't need them anymore. But Iroha 3 is new bride. Came with Union. And she's also home screen meta, as you can see. Very cute. And she has a funny thing where, as you can see, I put thunder, but you can see, why is there a fire icon? The reason behind it is her EX will actually change element, not just damage, but also the type of buff, depending on the field. So if you have fire field, it will give fire crit damage and fire crit, etc., etc., right? So she's in my funny joke, she is a pierce crit damage dealer. She's pierce damage type, and she'll always crit. Uh, is my joke. I'm sorry, it's a bad one. But yeah, her main issue, in my opinion, is she deals quite a bit of damage. Actually, 9k base if you level this up is not a joke. I've tried using her, and if you use her in a whale team, she ends up killing the boss a lot of the time. And so she's really hard to use. But if you are a free to play or a low spender, she is incredibly powerful, incredibly potent. Obviously, she's more so used for thunder teams or dark teams than anything else. But she is very powerful. Her EX skill will give you a 90% crit damage for any element that is of the field that is present, and her common skill is the only common skill to provide a field. There's no other one that does, I think.
Yep, that's the
Yeah,
only one.
it's only one. Sure, it's a small field, like a normal field. But LB3, not that we're going to LB3s here, by the way, but it will increase the field potency by 15%, which is great. The main thing you should know about her is this passive, which is kind of odd and kind of weird. Um, it like you would read this in English and not understand it, but if you actually read in Japanese, what it says is if an ally puts down a field, not her. If an ally puts down a field, right, then everyone in the party will gain plus 2 SP. A very potent LB0 passive, and but the issue is that you kind of use her to make the field a lot of the time, so it feels kind of like not like you feel like it doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. So it's kind of weird. But outside of that, very strong, very potent. You have a thunder attack up, right? You have any kind of crit damage and that you want, right? And crit rate. Of course, only for the front line, right? Of course, this one also only for the front line, right? So if you use her for thunder buffer, you can see she gives thunder attack, thunder crit damage. Very powerful stuff. The main issue with her is that, as you can see, this is 5 turns, this is 3 turns, right? And of course the field is forever, but like if you didn't have field set up already, if you use this skill, you have to use this skill like pretty immediately. And you can't just run like this skill first and then this one unless you have the field up. So she has a little bit of wonkiness, and a lot of this has to do with like turn-based buffs. I actually am not a fan of turn-based buffs, like having too many of them. So, and to be honest, she has a little too many turn-based buffs, and that becomes kind of a slight of an issue that exists here. The other thing to note is that this skill, you can actually just have her SS2, right, to give the buff for any element crit and crit damage. And the main difference is that this is a common skill that deals 0 damage, but it costs 10 SP instead of 13 SP, and this one only has to be cast once, and this one had to be cast twice. So it just depends on what you have available and which one is better. But in JP, SS2 Iroha is typically more used than SS3, even in Thunder teams. So just a quick note, but she is incredibly powerful unit, but SS3 kind of tips it off. SS2 kind of tips off the hat a little bit more because she has plus 5 SP for the whole entire like team whenever she uses this skill, and it costs 0 if the field is not fire. So overall, Iroha has gotten a giant buff because of the different Irohas that exist. That I would value Iroha 3 as well as Iroha 2. They get like a giant boost to basically bring align with Tsukasa. They give field, they give crit damage, crit, everything you need. Iroha 2 also gives SP. Tsukasa also gives SP, but that's at LB3, so we're not talking about LB3s. So LB1, I think they're about equal. So here's where I would place them. I don't think you own either of them or played with them.
Nope.
Red. But like
Nope,
on
I'm
paper,
behind on Iroha.
yeah, but on paper, like she looks wonderful, doesn't she?
But yeah, she's the turn-based buffer for every element. What's not
Yeah.
to like?
I don't. But Iroha 1, I think, doesn't need a move. Like she hasn't really gotten much like improvement. Yeah, she's fine. So we'll keep her here. But overall, the Iroha 2, 3, glow up is freaking crazy. And just as good as Kasa 5, and we had to push down Yotsuha. We had to push down everyone, essentially. Um, so I'll actually move up Union because all the other unions are up there. So it's kind of only fair she's a little bit higher. So this is just how everything is at right now in terms of buffers. The tier for the general debuffers for these two, I think they pretty much stay the same. There's nothing that's changed for them, and there's no reason to lower them because they're still incredibly powerful. So they're staying where they're at. Am I missing anyone from here? I don't think so.
Yotsuha, kind of.
Oh, I did miss Yotsuha. We can put her on the list, I guess. But
I
we
feel like
haven't
she
gone.
kind of does her own thing.
She does her own thing. I think she's more utility than she's buffer, to be honest.
She should probably just stay exactly where she is, just like slightly outside of the tier list.
She should be like off the like right here on
Yeah.
tier 6. Like, I think she doesn't even fit. Like, she doesn't fit utility. She's just like awkwardly like a different category. Like, I don't know what to say, but yeah, we'll get there when we get there. Debuffers. So, any new debuffers? No, I guess not. Wow. Wait, we haven't gotten a new debuffer in a while? No way. Really?
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Okay, not even a
Dude,
S tier.
not even an S tier. Dang. We haven't gotten anything ever since Ichiko. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, as for the elemental debuffers, right? There's been a giant rise in Miko use. A large part of it is because light is so powerful, and you can pair her with Yuina. You can pair her with a lot of stuff, and she's been being seen a lot. Does that mean that she should be like in higher tiers and stuff? I think she should still be in tier 8. We did move everyone down a tier just because of there was just too much stuff here. So we'll move a couple units back where I think they belong, and these three should be here. I think, right? Like, overall, I think they should go into a nice tier of bottom of tier 8. They're still very powerful, very good debuffers. Megu gives field defense down for her element. Megu 5 does the same thing, but she also has the ability to increase the potency of her debuffs. I mean, not debuffs, her field, as well as give that to Megumi 3. So they're just really powerful because of their field effect, and they just do a lot. Sadly, it costs a lot of SP to do it, but she gets the work done. Miko recently gotten some stuff, right? So she has the ability to where is it? Defense down, AoE, and it's stronger than most most single targets, right? So that is something to look out for, right? Let's see. Going down here, Aina is really powerful. The main issue with Aina is that she's kind of more of a useful at LB3 than she is at lower LBs. Everyone here should probably be just pushed up one tier in general. I guess everyone else should be pushed up one tier. This is fine. There we go. So everyone get pushed back up one tier. And everything looks fine here. Yep. So debuffers haven't really moved much because there haven't been too many additional debuffers. Just the top moved a little bit, and everyone at the top obviously here is overriders, and that's about it. Megu is still the de facto best debuffer for elemental when it comes to like non-overriders, just because field effect is so powerful. But Miko, Tene, and Isuzu are like just so good. They're just so powerful because they do so many different things. They can do light defense down, and fragile, right? So they do like everything that you need for a debuffer. And yeah, that's about it for debuffers here. I don't think anything's changed here. I think Megu should probably be. You know what? We can probably lower these girls down. They're just not strong. They're not even. They're just. They're just here, and then Megu should go down 1. There we go. So there's a clear difference between Megu and then these other 2. There we go. There we go. Any thoughts, Red? I think this is fair.
Yeah, debuffers haven't changed that much.
Yeah. Defenders. We already went over this, but they haven't changed very much
We got
either.
a new one.
We got a new one. That's about it.
We got 2 new ones, but
Yeah,
one's
we got
already
2
on the
new
list.
ones. Yeah, one's already on the list. Okay. So we have Seda. We already talked about her. Really, really fucking good. Just phenomenal. We have a new one, Chiroru. Chiroru 3. Now, she has the unfortunate... she has the unfortunate base of just, like, being useful and then being kind of like her main usefulness being overshadowed in 2 weeks, as you can see. So her main use here is this frontline thunder attack up, large thunder attack up. Does not scale with skill level, while Iroha's does, right? And she can also bring field. So there's a big problem there. But for a free to play, actually, Chiroru is pretty good. As long as you have Megu 5, because you need the field. The main thing about her is that she is able to provide a 10 hit, 10 hit with 5 SP. So not only you get 10 hits of OD, you also get SP. You also get this thunder attack up. So there's a lot of things going for her kit that's actually really good and kind of like moves her kit forward. If you just need someone to help your keep your team alive as well as have this SP battery, she is incredibly potent for that. This skill here is just a defense buff with the heal. Sadly, this skill only has 4 uses, so it's very limited in its uses. However, it's a nice bonus for her heal. As you can see, her heal does not change with skill level, which is really odd. It's one of the few skills that does this. Most skills will, if they have a heal and a defense up, they will like prioritize the heal. But yeah, it's just odd. But overall, not incredibly potent in like the buffing department, but in keeping the team alive, she's pretty good at that. Hi. The main thing you should realize here is that it says it costs 7 SP, but this thing actually costs 0 if she has charge. And you're like, wait, where does she get charge? Actually, whenever she uses EX skill, she can get charge. Now remember, her EX1, if you use that, it will still give her charge after that, because this is a passive. So that means that for 7 SP, you can have this SP cost be 0, right? Every time she uses EX, she'll give herself charge after the EX. So then you can work towards this to give 7 SP. 5 SP as well as a 10 hitter, right? And the attack buff. Like, you can work towards all this. So she's actually really powerful when it comes down to it. She's just not like anything else outside of like she's more utility than she is a defender. But because there's too many in utility, we're just gonna put in defender here. I actually value her pretty highly. She's in strong. I actually think she's a very strong unit. Nothing comparable to how much blocking that Aoi does, but defense up is always nice, as I said before, as well as having that minor heal, and then SP battering is just always a good thing to have. So I think she deserves 7 in strong tier. But did you pull for? You didn't pull for Yanagi, so did you? You don't have Chiru 3, huh?
No, I Forgot she existed.
Oh, well, I mean, same. I didn't get her, so I forgot her existence too. You're not alone. She's actually not bad though. She's just not as seen. Yep.
Why does she keep getting overshadowed by the person she shares a banner with?
Uh, I mean, not always. What do you mean? Her SS2 was overshadowed by no one. She just was just bad. Probably one of the worst
Yeah,
styles in existence.
it's unfortunate.
Healers. So we went over Adisa. Yun we went over. We lowered all the other healers down, but it is good to note that Mua is still pretty good, um, but does not deserve such a high place anymore, comparatively. So actually, maybe I should just keep him here. I think this actually makes sense. There's no reason to like increase them. Yeah, this is fine. Let's keep them all here. The healers just there aren't very many good of them. There aren't many good ones, but we have two new healers. We have Chie. Actually, we have three: Irene and Miko. Wow, we actually have three healers. Damn, they released so many healers. Uh, all three of them, funny enough, are more utility than they are healers. But there is one healer that reigns more supreme than the others, and that goes to Miko. I think. I actually think Miko's a better healer. Um, There we go. Miko is probably man. I might have to lower even more healers. Miko probably like. Do you think she's tier 8? Bottom? Top? Probably bottom, right?
Probably
Bottom
bottom,
tier
yeah.
8. Yeah, bottom tier 8. So if you probably don't know her kit, so we'll go over that real quick. But Miko, her kit is all about just like all the other Waki minions, stacking stuff. So for hers, it's also just like Seda. The more you use it, the more powerful it gets. And as you can see, the DP will actually increase per use, and it has one of the most powerful heals in the game. Um, I think the strongest is still Tama, right? Tama 1 is still the strongest. It's like 4 point something
Her
K.
with her skill evolution, yeah.
Yeah, but
Even
she's
without
it's like the third, maybe fourth strongest heal in the game. Basically reaching 3.5k DP on the fourth use, and provides 4 SP. The craziest part about this skill is just like Sera, this skill does not have a skill use cost, and it costs 8 SP. So this thing can be spammed like crazy while giving 4 SP to everyone except for herself. And if you give this to Seda, Seda can continuously spam uh, her EX, and so can Bungo. So the fact that she can just ramp up like this is incredibly crazy. And the funniest part is the trio can actually 3-man the worm in 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 hard mode. So if if in JP you had all three of them and you had them at LB1 each, you could just 3-man it. In fact, I actually 3-manned it with all of them being LB0. So just a funny note that you could do it. That's just how powerful they are working together. Her common skill is not very important, but you can revive an ally. Doesn't mean anything. No one uses this. Who cares? But the main part is being a wacky minion, being able to use this and spam this and heal your whole party by a crazy, ludicrous amount. Just remember that her first skill use is so bad, it's only 900 for 8 SP. So just noting. But it's crazy that you can heal while also giving SP to everyone except for herself, and you can build OD because it's 4 hits instead of 3, right? Or 0, really, because healers are usually 0. So she is very high tier as a healer. Funny enough, because of that. But she's more so for Pierce crit than she is for anything else. As for the other healers here, I think we could just like lower them. In fact, you know what? Like most of these healers are just not very viable to begin with. Yep, we'll just Actually, you just, yeah. Nah. Tama can go down. So we can erase all these. Tama should probably go down more. Tama, sad healer. And then in that spot, we could put Irene. And then Chia is probably the worst one of the bunch. In fact, I think she's the
Yep.
worst style they release in 2025. Do I think she's better or worse than Tama 3? I think she's better. There we go. We'll go over each of these healers and why I think I value them there. So let's start with Irene. So we'll put her down already. The top. So Irene, the thing you have to remember is that she also can use her SS1's EX, so she can still deal decent damage. The thing about this Irene is about killing fast. It's not about anything else. Her EX skill will actually heal very meh. It's very, very low amounts of heals. But the main fact that you have, the main factor about her is this utility here. So outside of herself, right? If at the start of the next turn, the party's SP. This is, by the way, the start of the turn is before the +2 SP that you get from the turn start, right? Before that, if the SP of your ally is less than 10, it will automatically make it 10. Doesn't matter if it's -100, or actually you can't really get to -100, -99, or it could be 1, it will be set to 10. A very, very nice skill to have to try to like get fights done over with. And though this says it's 10 SP skill, actually if you have less than 0, if you have 0, actually, if you have lower than 0 SP, it says here in Japanese, by the way, it will actually cost 0 SP. It'll be free to spend this. So just a note, this is a free costing skill if you are under 0 SP. The way to get to under 0 SP is this skill here. So this skill can be used if you are above 0 or above SP. And it'll give 5 turns of party attack up. So very potent skill, not really like crazy great comparatively to certain other characters, but hey, it gets the job done. You can use a buff, you can have a heal, and you can kind of battery people really fast to get their job done. So very good use style in that case, but not really used because she's used for farming really than anything else. So that's why she's kind of in this lowerish tier here. She's strong, but that's about it. Chia's deal is sad, just like most Chias. Very sad. Very sad style. She is a token healer, and every time she has 5 tokens, you can use her EX. Gives everyone 3 SP, including herself, by the way, right? And it's a 10 hitter, which means she builds a great amount of OD. And then she will heal all allies for 30% of the damage dealt. You don't have to actually build her damage for her to heal like your guys to max. It hits hard enough that it doesn't matter. And then her common skill, because she doesn't use any SP on her EX skill, actually costs 13 SP to give everyone 3 SP. This skill actually sounds really bad, and it should be bad on paper, but because she herself does not use SP, out on her EX, I think that's why they made it so expensive. Which I don't think is a bad thing. If you're wondering how she gets tokens, she actually gets, right here as you can see, 1 token per target she hits, and at LB1, she actually gains 1 token per turn, even if she's in the back line. Uina 5, if you have her, can also give her 2 tokens, right? So, there are many ways to get these tokens. But overall, because she doesn't bring anything else to the table at LB1, she just heals and builds OD. She's, like, okay. That's it. Like, nothing to do with strong. She's just viable. Her damage numbers are pretty bad because she doesn't have HP modifier, and her base is 9k, which is also pretty bad. So, yeah, overall, that's just how it is. We haven't put in Yotza. It's the only one left. And I still have to use restroom again. So, drinking too much water from all the talking. I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay, I am back. Sorry for taking a little bit of time. Okay, going forward, we have our utility guys, and for the most part, I think they haven't really changed. Everyone's kind of in the same boat. In JP, you'll see Yui has been used more, but she's actually just for like a certain comp and very niche. So I personally wouldn't count her as um, like amazing. Uh, to be said. So she's still in this tier, even though in JP you'll see a lot of usage from her as of recent, due to a new admiral. So I guess that's the only thing I haven't added to the list outside of Jotsun. Yeah. DR ways, it's like weird because there aren't many like just only DR units anymore. That's why like a lot of the DR is like if they're mostly DR or more utility. These ones are like kind of purely DR than they are anything else. But yeah, I don't think anyone has moved. We haven't really had very many like changes outside of this. Yeah, this is about it. Not much has really changed. Even lower tier, like I can't think of anything. But we'll go to Yanagi, the new admiral. We'll go over her and how fun she is. And when I say fun, I mean not fun. So Yanagi is probably a hot topic, or will be a hot topic on EN's talk, as her banner gets closer and closer. It's come to a very solid understanding among a lot of JP players, in that Yanagi is not really worth rolling for. Uh, in fact, Red mentioned earlier that he has not rolled for her. Probably due to the reasons that we're going to express soon. The main thing you should note is she is a very, very powerful, and that she is an admiral, which means that she cannot be used at the same time as Admiral Aoi because you can only have one admiral at a time in a team. Her EX skill pretty much looks like it does everything: Mind Eye, crit rate, crit damage, attack up. Everything you need. Skill levels will increase the enhance to greater degrees. It seems crazy good, and it is crazy good. Don't get me wrong. It costs 18 SP for 5 turns of this. Her Passive is an EX passive, which means it's an exclusive passive to only this style. She will increase everyone's SP cost by 2 if it doesn't have an SP cost of 0 or uses all SP. So if there's any SP cost that's not 0, boom, pops up to 2. Up by 2. So like for instance her EX skill here that costs 18 actually costs 20 SP if you bring this. However, with this, if you increase everyone's SP cost, what she does is she'll give you an additional enhance of 180%, make all buff effects stronger by 20%, make all debuff effects stronger by 20%, and the party's SP limit will be up to 30 instead of 20. So right now it's at 20 for you guys, but it's going to be up to 30 while you have her. Her auto attack is changed to what all admirals have: command action, right? Increases normal skill and skill attack by 15% for the front line. It's honestly a whatever skill, right? Her LB0 will give everyone in the team charge at the very beginning, which is kind of funny because I remember when I was talking with Red before that this was definitely going to be part of her kit. If Yanagi got Admiral, that for sure we'll see that she gives charge to the whole party at the beginning of the fight. Do you remember this discussion, Red? I think we had this like one time. Red, you still there? Uh,
Yep, I'm still here.
okay. I thought I DC'd for a second. But do you remember we had the discussion before saying like, hey, if Yanagi had an admiral, she'll definitely just give charge to everyone at the beginning of the battle.
Yeah, it's surprisingly irrelevant in my opinion, which is kind of sad. I was hoping she'd
Um,
make charge good, but instead she was just this instead.
yeah, she didn't make charge good. She just gave everyone charge. Beginning. It's okay. It's not bad. It's just like it makes other 31F members that have like, oh, if you have charge, they're better. Like better. That's about it. Her LB1 passive is just if you're in the front line, so nothing fancy like Aoi, which is crazy nut stuff. But she has a very basic kit. The main thing about her that you should know is if you do use her, your actual maximum damage output actually increases by about 60 to 80% increase, which sounds crazy good. And most people will be like, wow, that means she's a must pull. The answer is no. Uh, she is probably really far from a must pull. In fact, she is so like so hard to recommend because she's it's just hard to use a character that increases everyone's SP cost by 2. That means you cannot use point care, which is supposed to give you a net gain of plus 2 SP, because instead of it costing 1 SP to get 3 SP, it costs 3 SP to get 3 SP, which means you get 0 SP. It's a useless skill. Um, it's just there's a bunch of problems that she has. If you are trying to heal, your heals, the cheapest heal you have costs 10 SP. If you want to use this heal, which is great, it's going to be 13 SP. Like, it's just, there's too much SP you need. And if you're already struggling in EN for having SP, yeah, good luck having SP in JP when you have her. So, that's why Admiral Aoi is still in top tier here, is she may not give you the highest amount of damage, but she makes the game a lot more fun, a lot more engaging. There's a lot more things you can do with her. Meanwhile, Yanagi's a little bit more stiff and hard to use. I still think she still deserves a top spot, so she's going to get a nice top of 9 from me at LB1 if you have everything. But the thing is that remember at LB1 she's just really hard to use and kind of not preferred. Um, and that's why over here in my sheet for pull recommendations, I put her here. She's in my opinion, considered a whale pickup. If you're a whale, you can pick her up. If you're not, I just don't recommend it. She's okay, but like she doesn't make the game more fun or anything. She's kind of anti-fun and hard to survive if you're already dying at like turn 3, because that's like, it takes like 3 to 4 turns before you can actually get a heal off. If you're struggling in EN right now to like pretend you can't even heal for 3 turns, then good luck surviving in JP, right? It's like that. So just think of it in that aspect. It's you have to know how to play the game, as well as you really need to have limit breaks on characters so they just survive, essentially. Or you need their LB3 passives to do anything. So that's just to note. Damage dealers, there's no reason to talk about them because we did go over a bunch of them. But overall, very nice. I guess we can fit Yotsuha, but like Yotsuha's such a weird unit. Like I don't know which category I'd place her in. Red, I know you said
Damage
like put her in a
dealer,
new
of course.
category. What?
Damage dealer, of course.
No, she's not a damage dealer, dude. Come on, don't do this. But we should go over her kit so people understand why she's so hard to place. So she is the first follow-up attack, like utility-ish user in the game. Um, Waiting for new generation Dark in 2030. True. But her EX skill, okay, will give Dark attack, Dark crit damage for 3 turns to the front line, and will hit for 5 times. Now, this skill by itself seems decent and whatever. And as you can see, it costs 10 SP, and yeah, it deals like no damage, which is fine. But not that you can read it here, but it says here you cannot use this skill unless it is a follow-up attack. That's right. So you have to follow up attack with her to use her EX skill. Her passive makes all of her follow-up attacks, right? Basically EX skills, right? When I say EX skill, I mean just this skill, just only this one, okay? And I don't know why they made it a passive to attach on instead of like an LB0 passive, but they decided to make an LB, like they made it a regular skill passive. That is like not regular, but like an EX skill passive. One of the few characters with the EX skill passive that is not a unison. Um, but her main thing is that like as you can see here, her LB0 passive is that if an ally uses an 8 SP or less skill, she will follow up attack with a 1-hit normal attack, regardless of anything, right? She just will, as long as she's in the back. The thing is that this skill makes her follow up attack into her EX. So she has 10 SP. She will follow up attack with her EX here and do 5 hits while also giving all these buffs. I'll be honest, she's so clunky. I really wish that this EX had like unlimited use or like didn't cost as much or something, because the main issue is that like if you use up all of the EX skill counts, you're pretty boned. And if you're trying to loop, then it's going to be hard to get that 10 SP when you want it to. So she's kind of odd, but the main thing that makes her really powerful, on top of like having all these follow-up attack stuff, is if she does follow-up attack, she gives +2 SP to everyone in the front line. So if everyone in the front line uses a 6 SP cost skill, no one will lose any SP. And she'll follow-up attack 3 times for extra like 3 hits worth of OD, and the damage is negligible, but like it's just very funny. And her LB1 passive is she's in the back, she gets +1 SP. I think it's very, very ironic that she doesn't want to do work, but this version of her makes her do like the most work. Because she has to follow up attack all the time. Is she good? Wait, were you the one who has her, Red, or was that someone
No.
else? Okay, someone else. Okay, I don't remember who had her. They were just like, oh man, I tried her and she just wasn't that great. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so, because like on paper she doesn't look that good either. So, she's just not that good. Um, where do I rate her? How should I rate her, Red? Like, should I just put her in buffers anyways? You know, she's a
But what
follow-up
if you can
attacker.
infinitely loop with her?
You can though. That's the thing. You can
Yeah.
infinite loop with her, but like, she's just such a weird unit. Like, I don't know. I want to keep her at tier 6. Just keep her where she's at. Like, it's just so stupid. I don't know what to do here. Should just put her in buffer?
Yeah,
Technically, her main
probably.
aspect is buffer. Like, put her here. Just here. She's just too awkward to use. That's it. But yeah, overall, great. Um, to be honest, I should probably raise this Tsukasa by 1 tier. She's actually pretty good. I like made everyone lower by a tier, but I think these Tsukasa should go up a tier. Actually, this one should go probably here. She hella good right now. Shiki actually deserves to probably go to here. Funny enough, people meme her. She's actually good. And there should be a gap here. Yeah, this is fine. I think the gap is fair. So yeah, I forgot something to note about Mari. Her EX, SS1 EX actually got a master skill, a skill Evo, and it is way too hard to use, so it doesn't really change anything for her. If there are 3 or more 31C members, she will now give everyone 3 SP, as well as give everyone except for herself the Mind Eye. So it's okay. But overall, yeah, this is like the update tier list. I don't think if there's anything I think I need to change, I'll go over it. But I think this is probably, yeah, like it. Um, actually, wait, Maria should go up 1 tier, yeah, because of I forgot about her. She got didn't get a change, but her because of what happened to Ice, she is now considered good. Yep. Guess that's it. But overall, damage dealers, anyone could be a damage dealer, but everything else kind of matters in this utility section. So, as you can see, the new buffers have been very good. New 2025 buffers have been really good. Winners being, well, Iroha and Tsukasa basically saying that Thunder, Fire, and Dark and Ice have been eating good in buffers. Light has not been eating good in buffers, but they do now have a very powerful utility support, which makes them so strong, and a very powerful overrider. So, yeah, this is probably what the tier list should be. Yep, I think this is good.
Yep.
Oh, wait, we should change a couple of things here. Technically, Misato should not be here anymore. She is viable. I just like to meme. She was bad before. She's not bad now. See any meme pics here real quick. If anyone's in the stream still, feel free to ask questions. I'll be around for a little bit longer, but if you have any questions, you want me to go over something again, yeah, just shoot a message. It's fine. I'm just chilling. Let's see. But yeah, if you're wondering, if I know some people here probably was like, why wasn't he streaming in main court? Yeah, I left main court to work on studies. I just want to let people know I am going to be very busy for the next like 2 to 3 months. I wrote in here, yeah, like I'm gonna be busy till mid-September again. Like I know I just said I'm not gonna be busy until I'm gonna be busy until July, but now I'm gonna be busy again. I'm just a really busy person. So it's gonna be hard for me to like change things here and there as I can. I did put a note here. I did update this, so now everyone can see why I rate them, what I rate them here, as well as what the changes are and what makes them good or not good. Um, just to go over Koju and En, her tower upgrade's gonna be very powerful. But really, it's just like if you have her SS3, it's powerful. If you have nothing else, like if you have her SS2, it's like it's okay, like not as useful. Tsukasa is gonna be one of the best ones. You'll use her SS one EX on her SS2, her 4, and her 5. You'll rarely use her for on her for SS3, to be honest. Kanata is not very important, but the fact that the SP cost is lower and she can remove buffs makes her really strong for something like SF hard, bottom side, like really strong for that. She makes it kind of like a cakewalk. In JP, if you are running like S rank only, but you can use like EX1 EXs, she's like top of the list of like who you want to bring for those. What's the next must pull for En? Okay, we could go over that, sure. The next must pull, as you can see, I have a pull recommendation here. It doesn't have the order for it, but anything in this right here, general support top picks, is kind of like the de facto must pulls in a sense. Um, in order to keep like your account in meta without it like to make sure you have everything you need to do well. If you have all of these, you are basically set in like in JP. If you own all of these, you're basically set with pretty much any team you want to go with, or any element or anything, just because you are able to run any team. Just note that anyone who is lower here is kind of like the second tier version, right? Right here it says Union, right? If you don't have Diva, Mua, if you don't have Tama. This is mostly because they are SS1s, which means you can just select them, right? The next must pull is essentially Admiral Aoi. I don't think anyone would argue otherwise. I think it's easily she's the best one, if I'm not mistaken. Like, there's nothing worth pulling before her. Am I wrong on this? I think she is, right?
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, like, where's En at right now? It's like somewhere here, right? Like this just came out. This is a skip. Um, Granted, I will note, um, Aoi SS3, her common skill is really, really good for Admiral class. But it is not a requirement, but it's really good for that. This is worthless. It will
We're not
ignore
getting
angel
that.
beats. This one is like
Nice.
it's
But
nice, but like who cares?
not very high power.
Not very high power. Um,
Unison is
if
skip for Diva. Pretty
Unison
simple.
is skip unless you want to run fire with Diva being your main damage dealer. Otherwise, it's a complete skip. You can ignore this. But if you are a fire fan who wants to use Diva as their main damage dealer, this is basically like what you want to get. Um, Granted, uh, you don't need to have it anymore in JP. It is just something that like you should want to get in En because there'll be a little bit of time period before Yanagi comes out, and we don't even know when Yanagi is gonna come out because she wasn't tied to an event, so like we have no fucking clue, right? Um, this one is not a must pull for anyone unless you really, really, really want to get light. Otherwise, skip. This one is only a must pull if you care about what's it called again? What was it called? Uh, Arts Battle. But honestly, also a complete skip. Um, if you are going into Dark, must pull. Otherwise, ignore this banner. Right? As you can see, if you're not going to certain elements or certain whatever, yeah, you ignore all these banners. Right? This one here is just if you are for Ice. It is not a must pull, but if you have a lot of extra currency, go ahead. It's okay. This one here is really good for Dark, but not a requirement. But incredibly potent for dark for Aina. You Kanata is just worthless, absolutely worthless. Um, Over here, this is a complete skip banner. Yes, Irene is good for Pierce crit, but we already have Inori 2, so why even care about a single target that does less damage? Um, Bride banner, skip, ignore, right? Yuina 4, you'll see a lot of talk about this. I'm guessing your name is Michael, if I'm reading this correctly, right? Um, she is one of the few that you will see a lot of like talk about. Hey, should you pick her up? Hey, should you not pick her up? I'm in the camp of you don't pick her up if you're free to play. That's just the camp I'm in. I don't know what camp Red is in, but that's my personal take on it. Is as you can see here, good style for whales. That's it. I don't think she's a great style for free to play. Like Red probably just like hasn't used her in a long time, even if she is ice, unless use
Yeah,
it for ice damage.
she scales with account level essentially.
Yeah, like
The
she
more money you
scales.
spend, the better she'll be.
Yeah, the better your account is, the better she is. And sometimes your account is so good you don't even need her. So like, what's the point, right? So
What it comes down to is the people whose account she would be really good on are the people who aren't going to be asking if they should pull for her or not. They're just gonna
yeah,
pull her.
exactly.
So if
So
you
if
so if
you
you're asking if you should pull for her, the answer is no. And if you're not
yes,
asking that, then you probably are pulling for her.
that is correct. That's how it should feel. It's like if you need to ask, you don't need to pull for her because that means your account's not good enough. If you know you need her to do whatever you need to do on your account, then yes, you pull for her. Otherwise, just like no, like it's fine. Um, this is not a must pull. This is a skippable banner, right? Uh, you know, uh, Adele is really good, but like you
We're
don't
getting that one
need her.
really soon in global too.
I know you're getting these two right, both of them. These two.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I remember they gave you like the same date. That's why I put prediction as this. Why did they put? Oh no, they didn't even put predict because they actually just said these dates. Um, you don't have Inori too? Yeah, I mean, you may get hurt if you I don't know if you swipe at all, but if you do for the monthly pass, the platinum version, you should put her on your wish list. Like always have her wish list. I'm pretty sure on the first anniversary they're probably going to give you guys a uh, paid selector. You have to pay for it, but if they do, you probably want to pick up Inori too. Just saying. Um, but yeah, these two banners they're pretty skippable unless you're like super into fire or super into thunder. Otherwise, skippable. Technically speaking, you could pick her up as well for fire because well, you can bring her field common skill into her SS3. You're free to play, yeah. Then don't worry too much about it. Your next must pull is going to be if you pull already for Sutama, which you should. She's still up, right? I don't
Yep.
pay attention, Ian. So yeah, okay. She's
She
still
just
up.
went
You
up.
should get her. The next one you're aiming for right here is Aoi Admiral. If you're free to play, this is what you should aim for. So yeah, she's like the like free to play de facto. Like you should go for her. So if you're wondering, I do actually have an EN account. I don't really play it very much, but I do have one. I got lucky. I got Sutama at 50 with like 3 Megus. Feels bad. Um, but the main thing is like even my account. Yes, I have like Inori 2. Yes, I have pretty good stuff on it. But I'm actually just not gonna roll on it until until Admiral Aoi comes out. There's no reason for me to pull outside of Admiral Aoi, so I'm not gonna pull until she comes out. Um, and then after that, the one you want to pull for is Ruka. Now, if you don't have Inori 2, and you do not have Inori 2 by the time that Sumomo comes out, there is an argument that you want to save up 3 pities worth to get Sumomo, Aoi, and Diva. Um, Sumomo 3 will save your butt a lot. Up until Bungo comes out. So you'll basically be waiting for Bungo and the Bungo team. So if you're wondering for a free to play route, this is my personal opinion. Well, I haven't updated this. It's fine. Is that I'm learning to you what my like quote unquote pseudo free to play account. There's like I haven't spent money on it. I've gotten winnings from YoStar from like contests and shit. So like I'm not saying it's completely free to play. I'm just saying that it is like I have not spent on it, right? That account I am literally waiting for Aoi Admiral to roll for. But if I did not have Inori 2, I probably would have pulled for Sumomo. Right? If in the event I did have enough quartz by the time one of these 3 banners come out to basically pity 3 times, I would have saved for I would save for Sumomo 3, Aoi, and Diva. Now, if you're asking which one of these 3 are the most important, it's equal between Admiral Aoi and Ruka. Sumomo is skippable in this case, right? And then the next banner after that you would actually aim for would be Bungo, and then you would want both Miko and Seda. And then you're set basically for life. Unless they make something to counter Pierce crit, you're set for life with that. I think Red could probably agree with me on like how set for life you are once you have those.
Yeah. Until they add absorb null, and then it's
Yep.
a problem again.
Then it's a problem again. But until then, you're like that's all you need. You like if you go to here for pull rec, you just look at here, you pull these 3, and then you go here and you go to Waki Minions, and you just make sure you have this, right? You do not have to pull for these 2, okay? You can get Kuda 1 whenever they release the selector for SS1s. If you don't have her, just get her. And then everyone else is whatever, like the banners you have to pull. So, is it about 6 months before Admiral Aoi? We don't know. They could change things up. We have no fucking clue. It's all up to YoStar. And funny enough, they actually look at my files to look at stuff. So they may choose to change their schedule depending on what I've written for some awful reason. They just like to be evil to the EN community. I don't know why. So, yeah, that's it. Anyone else have any questions? Or, like, even for Red, they can have questions for Red. He is mostly free to play.
Yeah,
right?
I still play EN plenty.
Heidi.
I
Like,
would be a fool not to. My account is too blessed. It
Is
gives
it
me
blessed?
everything I want. It's too blessed. I got both the Christmas units off random ass tickets this week.
What the?
I know.
What? You know what I got during my S ticket?
Yeah.
Where'd she go?
Did you get
I
base
got-
Megu?
No, I didn't get base Mega. I got someone like I can't even use. Where is she? Right here. 7-3. I just can't use her. LB0?
Yeah.
Like, worthless. Absolutely worthless.
Yeah.
LB0.
Play Arts Battle. That's about it though.
Absolutely worthless. So, I got her recently. Oh, funny enough, you want to hear something sad, Red? So, you know how I pulled on this banner, right? Obviously. Like, why wouldn't you? But in 50 pulls, I got 3 Vegus and 1 Tava, okay?
Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
And you know my account, I've been trying to keep everything LB1.
Yeah.
I accidentally maxed out on what I had for Megu, so he's now LV2, and I'm like, that was so sad
You
because
can't recover from that.
You can't. It counts bricked for LB1 only. But I mean, whatever. At this point, I'm almost like,
It's
ah,
fine.
it's
You're just
fine.
using it for her for costume swap anyway.
No, so yeah, I don't know. So what I thought to myself was, I'm just gonna lower her stats by like, like I can lower her stats. It's fine. Like I could get rid of charms. It's fine. Like she just doesn't have charms on. That's fine. Cause like one LB is about a charm's worth. You know.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit over a charm's worth. I just get rid of the charms. It'll be fine. So whenever I use her, I'm just gonna not have charms or something. But yeah, for Admiral Aoi, I don't know how long it'll take before they release her. Um, but as you can see, I predict uh, that she is between October. But you should also note that um, we have no idea because I think Yostar's behind. I don't know if you're still there, CL, but I remember you mentioned they're behind by like 9 like non-event banners or something. Is that what you said? I forgot. I don't know if you're still there, CL. But yeah, I think they're behind by like 9 event banners or something crazy like that. Like what? Uh, Adele's missing. Shadow 2 is missing still, right?
Yeah, they're on the roadmap. We're getting them though.
Yeah. Oh, they
Sharo's
recently
probably
announced.
end of this month because they announced when we're getting the Sharo like mini a game and
Oh, the mini game.
Sharo
Yeah, yeah,
ticket.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna get the banner along with those.
Okay, okay.
So it's gonna be
Reminds
end of
me.
this month.
I need to check something real quick. Uh, yeah, I thought so. Damn, that feels bad. The boss still has the 50% Thunder Week instead of
Yeah.
150%
But
because
check the
it's
rules
what?
for week 2. Oh, never mind. I thought that was
No,
150. It's week 1. Never mind. It's week 1.
they don't have the
See, lowers the
150.
resistance by 150%. There it is.
No, but that's for Dark.
Yeah, it's still 150%.
No, what I'm saying is because Shadow 2 was out during the time this was out,
Oh yeah.
that in JP WFS balanced it by making the resistance 50, but it's not 150. It's supposed to be 150, but like it's dumb. If Shadow 2 is coming that soon, then I might be in a pickle. I mean, if you're going Thunder, you are in a pickle, that's for sure. Funny note, Thunder is really, really powerful in JP right now, ever since Iroha 3 came out. So you would actually need to make sure you save for Iroha 3 as well. But depending on spending power. If you're not spending, just stay Pierce Crit. There's like no reason to go off that road. Everything would suck if you like veer off the road of Pierce Crit. So you would, if you're free to play, this is like the free to play option right here. Is blocking minion Pierce Crit. Obviously, the only damage dealer really needs Inori 2. Otherwise, Sumoma 3 can suffice for single target. And then Bungo is just god of everything. She's just Boon God. Oh, I should update this. Right. Because Higu is here. Seika 4. I don't have a picture, so there we go. I just realized there's like no options if you're running light or ice. Wow.
Yeah.
There really isn't an option, huh? Dang, fire and thunder have so much. You know, why did I put thunder first? It makes no sense. What? Why is thunder first? I'll keep it this way. It's fine. It's so odd. Such an odd choice. But yeah, Michael, if you just look towards the pull rec tab, you can get a lot of information you need. You can also go to Reddit and see CL Bird stuff. I work with CL Bird to make sure that like you guys have the right info um, on styles and stuff. So she writes everything up, and I just give her some extra umph that if she's missing something that she doesn't know about because she doesn't play JP as intensively. She just kind of like half plays it because she just started when EN started. Um, if there's something that she's missing or she doesn't understand or she doesn't know the context or the history, I kind of like give her that so she can make like provide the best information for everyone to on Reddit. Um, I think a lot of people like her work, so like props to her. And honestly, like I just don't want to waste time writing all that, and like I just don't have time for that. So I decided not to do those things and let her do her thing. But it's always nice to see people trying to write guides or whatever to help the community. So thanks a lot for that. If you're there as well, Rihu, I know you make guides on YouTube, and if you're still there, honestly, like, keep up the good work. If you need any questions or if you need anything, yes, I'll be busy, by the way, but please reach out so you don't give like misinfo to the community. It's good to make sure that everyone has correct info. Of course, if you have opinions in your info, I'm like, I don't care. Those are opinions. I have opinions, but it's like some things like if you missed out on something or if you didn't understand something, it's good to make sure you have the right info because pull recs and all that stuff is honestly all opinions. They're not fact, but in my personal opinion, these are what you need. Is everything in pull rec is very important depending on what element you are going into. These niche supports, honestly, you don't need any of them. These general debuffers just make your life easier, but only the first like 3 rows really matter. I mean, first row matters, but Fubuki 1 and Mia 2 are pretty much the go-to important ones. And then the general top supports, these 3 are like just gonna help you throughout your time. Like Diva is important, Admiral always important, Tsutama is last because she's not as important as the other 2, as she gets kind of phased out because there are just side grade options that are just really good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If no one has anything to ask, I will close the stream. But feel free to come back to the stream and take a look at stuff. I think the next time we're gonna go over some things, like Red and I go over things, are probably gonna be in September. If you're free during that time, Red. If not, like regardless, I'm going to update. I'll probably like poke Red to make sure he takes a look at our EN tier list here. Just because there is a possibility that they go and introduce a character that I don't have on this list. If it also the list also looks a little bit outdated, I will make sure I update it. Even if I'm really busy, I will just take time to kind of update a little bit. Just I will need a poke from the community to make sure I do that because I don't have like the time to look at the news in from Yostar. So if anyone is like able to do that, it's of course going to be helpful for me and the community as I try to make sure that everyone has the right information and they can make the best decision because like all these things are opinions. Tier lists are opinions. Some people might think that certain characters are way better than others, but like I've noticed that the more people play this game, the more they understand, and the longer the game's been around. That for the most part, people have been agreeing with my tier list, which is great to see because that means that I'm giving everyone pretty correct information. I don't want to like steer people away from like from like I don't want people to roll on things that they shouldn't be rolling on. You know, like don't want to face people's currency. So take care, everyone. I'm gonna head out since We've been streaming for like 3 hours. Wow, it's been pretty long. So